All right, class. This is going to go along with homework. I'm going to label it as cash dividend homework. It's going to be due on Thursday. And this video here is to explain to you how to go about completing a cash dividend video or class dividend question. So if you go ahead and you open up the assignment, you will see that there's an example problem. And it says homework 3. There's an example problem with the answer to it, and then there's 2 problems below it that are what I want you to go ahead and complete. This shouldn't take very long, but we do have to go over a couple things when we're doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question to you and the way it's going to be worded. And it starts off with Sundry Corp declared, so there's your declaration, 25 cents per share dividend on May 1st. So there's your declaration date. To stockholders of record on June 1st. So that means you have to own the stock by June 1st to receive the 25 cent per share dividend. The payment date, which is your payment date, is going to be July 1st. So those are your 3 key dates when it comes to a cash dividend or any dividend for that matter. The 3 dates do not change as far as the meaning behind them. The actual day, it could be January, February, and March being declaration, record, and payment. So the actual month and day may change, but the significance of the actual date, meaning declaration, record, or payment date, the significance does not. The meaning still stays the same. Okay? So Sundry has a total of 400,000 shares authorized, in which 20,000 shares are treasury and 50,000 shares are unissued. Using the following information provided, prepare the journal entries associated with this problem. Now, at the end of the last video, I got cut off because the battery died on the surface on explaining to you how to go about preparing the journal entries. Okay, so if you take a look at your slides, you should have a template, which I believe is like slide 10 or 11 in chapter 11, that gives you the template for your journal entries. So number 1, you should be looking at that. Now, whenever you're preparing journal entries for a cash dividend, you need to figure out one piece of information if it is not given to you. Sometimes, depending on the narrative, the number that you're looking for would be given to you. Other times it will not be. So the key here that I need you to understand first is the formula for figuring out dividends per share is as follows. You take the number of outstanding shares, okay, outstanding, and multiply that by the dividend per share. Now, keep in mind, you have to go back in our lecture and you could find the piece of paper that I gave you with your tree diagram on it. Using that tree diagram will give you the opportunity to figure out the number of outstanding shares if it is not given to you in the question. In this question, it's not given to you. You can see that Sundry's got 400,000 shares authorized, 20,000 are in treasury, and 50,000 are unissued. So now if you think about your tree diagram, it starts with it starts with authorized. So at the very top, you got 400,000. That breaks up into 2 new numbers. And that breaks up into what we call our issued shares and our unissued shares. So now this problem says that there's 50,000 unissued. So if one side is 50,000, to make up 400, the issued shares is going to be 350,000. Now, the next step is you still haven't got to your outstanding shares because your number of issued shares breaks up into 2 more categories. The issued shares, in this case, the 350, breaks up into what we call the outstanding shares and treasury stock shares. Now, we don't know the number of outstanding, but we do know the number of treasury shares in here, and that says it's 20,000 shares are in treasury. So out of the 350 issued, 20,000 are in treasury, which leaves us 330,000 shares that are going to be outstanding. That's the first number you need to find, is the number of outstanding shares. So now in your calculator, if you take 330,000 and multiply by 0.25, which is given to you in the narrative of the question, you should come out to $82,500. That is the amount of the dividend being paid for this particular dividend question. And then from there, all you need to do is just put it in your journal entry. On your declaration date, which they go in order, declaration, rec date, and payment date. You can see I have them, the titles listed in bold. Your declaration date starts with declaring a dividend, which is your debit, and then setting up the liability account, which is your dividends payable, which is your credit. Plug in the number, 82,500. That number's not going to change, so that's the easy part about this. The second one, the record date we spoke about, is just informational for the company, so there's no entry on that date, and you can see that I wrote the words no entry. I expect the same from you guys, no entry. Last but not least is your payment date, and your payment date is literally just getting rid of your liability, and in this case, what are you paying your investors? You're paying them cash, so hence the reason why your cash is being credited. Okay? So it's not a very difficult question. Really what I find that students have the biggest problem with is actually finding the number of outstanding shares. Again, I've given you a tree diagram. It should be in your notes. It's in prior lectures, which is the easiest way visually for you guys to learn this. So take that tree diagram out. I hope some of you guys have written it down in your notes like I had asked you to and kept it so that you can see it. Follow that tree diagram and go ahead and complete numbers 1 and 2, which is the bottom half of this page. Shouldn't take you no more than a few minutes. And go ahead and get this submitted into me. Okay, I'm going to upload this as the homework assignment with the directions, and I'm going to send you guys out an email letting you know that this happened. There's also going to be another lecture on for treasury stock, and there's going to be a treasury stock homework. So you actually got 2 homework assignments coming your way today. They're not very long, they're not very difficult, but again, just follow your lectures. You'll spend about an hour and a half probably total with the actual lectures, the YouTube video lectures that I have, plus the directions, plus the homework. So it's about a class period. All right, so I'm going to sign off from here, and we're going to get this rolling, and be on the lookout for the next one and my email. Thank you guys.